ever felt like building meaningful connections is, I don't know, some kind of mysterious art, or maybe just a relentless uphill battle, especially when you've got that inner critic just screaming in your ear.
Yeah, or maybe you've moved to a new city, right?
Yeah.
Or you're just trying to figure out the social stuff at work, and
Yeah.
it feels like you're shouting into the void sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, today we're embarking on what I think is a really transformative deep dive. We've meticulously explored a wealth of insights, everything from, the foundational principles of self-worth, right up to the intricate dance of a truly engaging conversation,
Mhm.
and even how to navigate those complex social environments like a bustling workplace or maybe a city where you don't know anyone.
Exactly. And our mission here, it's really to equip you with its systematic, evidence-based blueprint for building genuine social capital.
Right.
This isn't just some fluffy feel-good talk. It's designed to be a strategic, actionable roadmap. Something to help you not just feel more confident, but to actually be capable of forging these really profound connections, no matter where you're starting from right now.
And I think by the end of this deep dive, you'll have a much clearer understanding of the stages of social growth and, more importantly, the concrete actions you can actually take to make your social life not just, survive, but really flourish.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get started because we're about to unpack some genuinely powerful truths, stuff that might just reshape how you think about connecting with others. The indispensable foundation, building your internal world. All right, let's unpack this foundational concept. Self-esteem. It's often really misunderstood, isn't it?
Totally. So many people treat it like it's some genetic lottery. You either won it or you lost it.
Exactly. But the insights we've gathered paint a profoundly different picture, a much more empowering one, actually.
Precisely. Psychological research consistently shows that self-esteem isn't some fixed personality trait you're just stuck with. It's actually an outcome.
An outcome. How so?
Well, it's more like a reward you get for taking calculated risks, for bravely stepping outside your comfort zone. It's not something you need before you act. It's a tangible structure you actively build yourself, one deliberate step at a time.
That's a really different way of looking at it.
It is. And when we explore its psychological functions, we really grasp how significant it is. I mean, think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
He identified esteem, both self-respect and the recognition we get from others, as a fundamental human requirement. It's not just a nice to have, it's a deep-seated need for you to truly grow and reach self-actualization. So building your self-esteem isn't just about feeling better, it's about fulfilling a core human drive.
Oh, okay.
And then you've got things like terror management theory, TMT. It suggests self-esteem acts as this crucial buffer against, well, the deep fear of our own mortality.
Right, the existential stuff.
Exactly. It's how we find significance and meaning within our cultural worldview. And sociometer theory, it suggests self-esteem is like an internal gauge of our social standing. It's a signal telling us how accepted or valued we feel in our social world. These ups and downs aren't random, they're valuable feedback.
So the goal isn't to pump yourself up into some kind of dangerously inflated ego.
Definitely not.
Or, the opposite, wallowing in this perpetually deflated sense of self.
No, the true goal is a balanced, realistic, and importantly, positive self-view.
And this isn't achieved through just repeating feel-good affirmations that, let's be honest, rarely stick, right?
No, it demands systematic work, deliberate cognitive and behavioral reshaping. It's about getting down to the practical business of changing how you think and how you act.
Okay, practical. I like that.
So for anyone starting from a place of low confidence or maybe feeling genuinely stuck with low self-worth, this next piece is incredibly practical, maybe the most potent tool available. It's the practice of self-compassion.
Self-compassion. Okay.
Fundamentally, it just means treating yourself with the exact same kindness, the same understanding and patience you'd naturally offer to a friend who's struggling. Or even a stranger, really.
Because that relentless inner critic, that voice.
Yeah, that voice.
That constant, often brutal stream of negative self-talk that just goes on and on, that's what we're actively trying to identify, challenge, and systematically replace. It's a conscious effort, almost like physically retraining your mind, shifting those ingrained, unhelpful patterns.
Exactly. And here are some actionable steps to really cultivate that. First up, self-discovery. You need to dedicate real, intentional time for introspection. What do you genuinely value? What do you truly need? What do you deeply enjoy? independent of what others think or expect.
Right, separating your stuff from everyone else's expectations.
Precisely. Journaling is fantastic for this. It gives you a private space to explore these core parts of yourself, building a really resilient foundation of self-knowledge.
Okay, so self-discovery first. What's next?
Next is challenging unkind thoughts. This is a core cognitive technique. When that self-critical thought pops up, and it will pause, ask yourself, would I talk to a good friend this way?
And the answer is usually hard no, right?
Almost always. That simple question creates crucial distance. It lets you see the thought more objectively. Remember, every time you indulge in negative self-talk, you're reinforcing a neural pathway. You're strengthening that link between me and incompetent or unworthy.
So how do you break that?
By consciously reframing. Instead of, I'm stupid, try, that was a misguided action I took. You're not denying mistakes. You're separating your actions from your core identity. You start building healthier pathways.
Okay, reframing makes sense.
Then there's positive self-talk. Yes, it might feel really awkward at first, like talking to yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, definitely can feel weird.
But consistent, deliberate practice of saying supportive, affirming things to yourself absolutely can shift your default inner dialogue from critical to supportive. It takes time, but it works.
And finally,
supportive touch. The mind-body connection is real and powerful. In moments of high stress or self-criticism, physical self-soothing can be remarkably effective. Just placing your hands over your heart, like a gentle self-hug, and taking a few deep breaths can activate your body's calming response. It fosters a real, tangible sense of self-compassion. Simple, but potent.
so we've talked about self-compassion, but low self-esteem often seems to operate with this, like a biased filter, right? Focusing only on the negative, ignoring the good stuff.
Absolutely. It's like it has its own skewed data collection system. And this next step, cognitive restructuring, is all about strategically dismantling that unhelpful filter, piece by painstaking piece.
Cognitive restructuring. Okay, how does that work?
It's a systematic process. You actively gather, acknowledge, and internalize concrete evidence of your own inherent value. Some health organizations even recommend writing down recurring negative beliefs.
Writing them down.
Yes. Identify that nagging belief like I am unlikable or I am fundamentally incompetent. Write it down. Then you actively search for and list concrete evidence from your own life that directly challenges it. So if the belief is I'm incompetent, your evidence might be I consistently deliver excellent work on my projects, or my friends often ask for my advice.
Ah, I see. So you're turning that vague negative feeling into something specific you can actually test against reality.
Exactly. You transform it into a testable hypothesis that you can disprove with factual, undeniable evidence from your own experience. It shifts you from self-sabotage to, well, genuine self-discovery.
And once you've gathered that evidence, it's not enough just to see it, is it? You have to really hold on to it and let it sink in.
Precisely. Building that robust case for your own value means developing the skill of recognizing and truly internalizing the positive data. This involves a few key practices. Firstly, accepting compliments. Seriously, stop deflecting them.
Guilty. Oh, it was nothing.
Right. Or anyone could do that. Practice graceful acceptance. A simple thank you works wonders. Maybe keep a compliment journal or save positive messages to reread when doubt creeps in.
Okay, accept compliments. Got it.
Secondly, soliciting positive feedback. If you feel up to it, ask people you trust, friends, family, colleagues, what they genuinely appreciate about you or see as your strengths. They often see things you completely overlook.
That takes some courage, but I can see how it would be powerful.
It really can be. And finally, creating a positive qualities list. Regularly jot down things you genuinely like about yourself. A skill, a kind act, a character trait. Aim for maybe 5 things. Display it somewhere visible, your mirror, the fridge. A constant visual reminder to counter those automatic negative thoughts.
These are great practical steps, but you mentioned something earlier, a modern threat to self-esteem?
Ah, yes, the big one. Avoid social comparison. Especially, and I really can't stress this enough, on social media.
The highlight reel problem.
Exactly. You're seeing someone else's carefully curated, filtered best moments slapped up against your own messy, behind-the-scenes reality, flaws and all. It's inherently unfair. It's soul-crushing, frankly. Consciously limit your time, or better yet, unfollow accounts that consistently trigger envy or feelings of inadequacy. Your worth isn't tied to someone else's perfect vacation shot.
That's a hard habit to break, but crucial. So cognitive shifts, challenging thoughts, gathering evidence, these are vital.
But you also mentioned action.
Yes. Here's the unflinching reality. Genuine, solid self-esteem isn't born in quiet thought alone. It's forged in the fire of action.
Right. Confidence doesn't just appear.
No, confidence doesn't precede action. It results from it. You don't wait to feel confident to act. You act and then you become confident. It's a reversal of how most people think about it.
So that avoidance cycle you mentioned.
Exactly. Low self-esteem often fuels avoidance. You sidestep challenges, which prevents success, which then reinforces your belief that you're incompetent. It's a vicious loop.
And the only way to break it is to act. You absolutely must act. It's the only path forward.
Okay, so what kind of actions are we talking about?
Let's break down the actionable steps. First, set and achieve challenges. The simple act of setting a goal and working towards it powerfully builds self-esteem. But, and this is critical, start with baby steps. If you have social anxiety, aiming to make 5 new friends this month is probably setting yourself up for failure, reinforcing negativity.
Right, too big, too fast.
Exactly. A much better start. Make eye contact and smile at one cashier this week, or join one exercise class. Each small win, each tiny victory builds a new positive narrative about your capability.
Small wins accumulate. I like that.
Second, focus on effort, not outcome. This mindset shift is huge. It protects your developing self-esteem from inevitable setbacks. When you're learning any new skill, social or otherwise, you will stumble. If your self-worth is tied only to a perfect outcome, every mistake feels like proof of failure. Instead, redefine success as the act of trying. The victory is in the effort itself.
So just showing up is a win.
In many ways, yes. It makes it psychologically safer to keep taking those necessary risks. Third, keep promises to yourself. Consistently following through on personal commitments builds self-trust and self-respect. When you promise yourself you'll go for that walk or practice that skill, and you do it, you send a powerful message to your subconscious. I am reliable. I take care of myself.
And breaking those promises
Erodes self-worth, creates self-doubt. This also extends to honoring your boundaries, learning to say no when you need to. Finally, find your passion and strengths. Engaging in activities you genuinely love or are good at creates this incredibly positive feedback loop. You get into a state of flow, feel a sense of purpose, get positive feedback. It's potent fuel for self-esteem.
Makes sense. Doing things you're good at makes you feel good about yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or even mentoring someone else in an area you know well that reinforces your competence like nothing else.
Okay, action is key. But you hinted earlier, none of this works if the basics aren't covered.
You got it. Foundational self-care. This is non-negotiable. Your mental and social resilience is deeply fundamentally tied to your physical health. Neglecting this undermines everything else.
So the obvious stuff.
The pillars. Prioritize sleep, diet, and exercise. Insufficient sleep tanks your mood and emotional regulation. Unstable blood sugar from a poor diet causes mood swings and energy crashes. And exercise. It's a proven direct booster for mental well-being and self-esteem. These aren't secondary. They are primary tools.
Right. Can't build a strong house on a shaky foundation.
Precisely. Also, spend time in nature. Research consistently confirms its positive impact on mood and mental health. Get outside, breathe. Practice mindfulness and meditation. These help regulate your nervous system, reduce emotional reactivity, and build the self-awareness needed to challenge those negative thoughts.
And the pitfalls to avoid.
Crucially, avoid alcohol and drugs as coping mechanisms. It's so common to turn to substances for temporary relief from low self-esteem or anxiety. But long-term, they almost always worsen the underlying problems. They prevent you from developing healthy coping skills. True progress demands facing emotions, not numbing them. 2. Conquering the social beast, anxiety and rejection.
Okay, so we've built the internal foundation. But for many people, the biggest monster in the room, the thing that feels truly insurmountable, is social anxiety and that gut-wrenching fear of rejection. And we're not just talking about being shy, are we? This is something deeper.
Exactly. SAD, social anxiety disorder. It's an intense, persistent fear. Fear of being watched, judged, scrutinized in social situations. It's often severe enough to wreck daily life, work, school, friendships. It's a real struggle.
And you mentioned a cycle. How does it keep people trapped?
Right, the vicious cycle. It typically starts with negative beliefs.
Right.
I'll say something stupid, I'm unlikable.
These beliefs trigger intense anxiety in social situations. So to cope, people either avoid the situation entirely or they use safety behaviors within it.
Safety behaviors. Like what?
Things like excessively rehearsing what you'll say, avoiding eye contact, asking way too many questions to deflect attention, clinging to one safe person. Subtle things that feel protective.
Ah, okay. They feel like they're helping.
Exactly. They feel like your shield. But here's the insidious part. they're actually screwing you over long term.
How so?
They provide that short-term relief, sure, but they prevent you from ever learning that your feared catastrophe, being judged, being rejected, is either unlikely or totally manageable if it does happen. You never disprove the negative belief because you attribute the lack of disaster to the safety behavior. I only survived because I stayed quiet. It strengthens the loop. That's the power of SAD.
Wow, yeah, insidious is the right word. So how do we dismantle this beast? The gold standard, based on decades of research, is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT.
CBT, heard of it, but what does it actually involve?
It's structured, active, and skills-based. The core idea is simple but powerful. Thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are all interconnected. Emotional distress, like social anxiety, doesn't come from situations themselves. It comes from your interpretation of those situations. By changing distorted thought patterns and the unhelpful behaviors they drive, you change your emotional response. You regain freedom.
Okay, changing interpretations and behaviors. How does CBT do that?
Well, the first step is psychoeducation. Understanding the mechanics of social anxiety, how beliefs fuel anxiety, drive avoidance, reinforce beliefs, demystifies it. It stops being this confusing mess and becomes a solvable problem. Knowing it's a recognized condition and treatable is incredibly empowering.
Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely. Then you move into cognitive restructuring in action. This is the core cognitive part, systematically identifying, evaluating, and modifying those distorted thought patterns that fuel the anxiety.
Like the ones we talked about with self-esteem.
Similar, but often specific to social fears. Common distortions in SAD include mind reading, assuming you know others are thinking negative things about you. They think I'm boring. Catastrophizing, or fortune-telling, predicting the worst possible outcome. I know I'll make a fool of myself. The spotlight effect, believing everyone's intensely focused on your flaws.
Oh, yeah, the feeling that everyone's watching you.
Right, when they're mostly worried about themselves. Then there's mental filtering, focusing only on the negative. And emotional reasoning, I feel anxious, therefore I must be in danger.
Okay, so how do you challenge those?
The most effective tool is often a thought record or a thought diary. You write down the situation, the automatic negative thought, the emotion, but then, and this is key, you actively search for evidence for, and more importantly, evidence against that thought. It helps you see how inaccurate those thoughts often are. It pushes you towards balance.
Like being your own detective, examining the evidence.
Exactly. And as you weaken those negative beliefs, you need to tackle the behaviors. That's a critical component, absolutely critical. That's dismantling safety behaviors, those things we talked about, rehearsing, avoiding eye contact, gripping your drink. They create that false sense of security. They prevent real learning. A therapist helps you identify your specific ones, and then through exposure therapy, you systematically experiment with dropping them.
Dropping them, just like that.
Gradually, yes, you see what actually happens, and often the catastrophe you feared doesn't materialize at all. That's the profound learning experience.
Okay, exposure therapy. That sounds intense.
It can sound intimidating, but it's the core behavioral intervention. It's a graduated, systematic approach to facing your fears. It's incredibly effective.
How does it work in practice?
It involves gradually and repeatedly confronting feared social situations without using avoidance or those safety behaviors. It achieves two crucial things. First, habituation. Your anxiety naturally decreases with repeated prolonged exposure. Your body literally learns the threat isn't real.
Okay, like getting used to cold water?
Kind of, yeah. And second, it provides undeniable, real-world evidence that your feared outcomes don't happen, or you can handle them. This directly disproves those stubborn negative beliefs.
So, practical steps for someone listening.
First, create an exposure hierarchy. A personalized ladder of anxiety-provoking situations ranked 0-10. Maybe eye contact with cashier for 3 seconds is a 2, giving a presentation is a 9 or 10.
Makes it feel less overwhelming.
Exactly. Second, start small and build. Begin with the lowest ranked item that still causes some anxiety. Crucially, stay in the situation until the anxiety naturally decreases. Don't flee.
Right, leaving early reinforces the fear.
Precisely. Repeat that task until it's no longer scary, then move up the ladder. This builds mastery and confidence. Finally, combine with relaxation techniques. Deep breathing, like the 4-7-8 method, helps manage the physical symptoms, racing heart, etc., during the exposure. Practice beforehand so you can use it when needed.
This all makes sense, but underlying so much of this anxiety, it's that primal fear of rejection, isn't it? It hits hard, like a physical punch sometimes.
It does, because it's so deeply rooted in our evolution. Social belonging meant survival. Ostracism could be a death sentence. Our brains are wired to feel social pain as intensely as physical pain, But in modern life, that system can be way too sensitive. Building resilience to rejection is key.
Okay, resilience. How do you build that?
Several strategies.
Mm.
First, cognitive reappraisal. Actively reframe the meaning of rejection. Separate the event from your self-worth. It's data about fit, not a verdict on your value. Challenge self-blame. Consider other explanations. Maybe the person was just busy, distracted, having a bad day.
And it's not always about you.
Exactly. Second, validate your feelings. Don't suppress the hurt. Acknowledge it. Okay, this stings. It's normal to feel hurt. This stops it spiraling into shame.
Allow yourself to feel it.
Yes. And finally, build social support. A strong network is the best buffer against any single rejection. Having trusted people to talk to provides comfort, perspective, and reminds you that you belong.
It creates a positive feedback loop, right? More connections mean less sting from one rejection, making it easier to make more connections.
Precisely. And for those times when it feels truly overwhelming, when self-help isn't enough,
Yeah, what then?
seek professional help. Health organizations worldwide agree social anxiety is a treatable condition. Self-help is powerful, but often best with professional guidance. A therapist guides you through CBT. Sometimes medication from a psychiatrist can help manage severe symptoms, making the behavioral work possible. It's not weakness, it's the most effective strategy. It's strategic. 3. The art of human connection, skills, and dynamics.
Okay, we've laid that crucial internal groundwork, tackling self-esteem, battling anxiety. Now let's shift to the outward skills. Because the biggest myth about conversation, the one that trips so many people up, is that you need to be some kind of super witty, charismatic performer.
Absolute hogwash.
Yeah.
That belief creates so much unnecessary pressure. The reality, the most valued conversationalists, the ones people love talking to, are often the best listeners.
Really, not the best talkers.
Often, no. And for someone with social anxiety, mastering active listening is transformative. It shifts the burden off you to constantly perform while simultaneously building incredible rapport. It's a superpower.
Okay, active listening, break it down for us.
Core techniques. First, being fully present. Undivided attention. Phone away. Appropriate eye contact, the 50-70 rule, is a good guide. 50% when speaking, 70% when listening, maybe 4 or 5 seconds at a time. Focus intensely on their words, tone, nonverbals. Not on planning your response, just listen.
Easier said than done sometimes. Our minds want it.
It takes practice. Second, withholding judgment. Open mind. Suspend internal criticism or the urge to interrupt and argue. Show this nonverbally. Uncrossed arms, relaxed posture, lean in slightly. It signals respect.
Okay, present, non-judgmental. What else?
Third, reflecting and validating. These are powerful. Reflection is paraphrasing what they said. So if I'm understanding, you're feeling frustrated because it confirms understanding, allows clarification, makes them feel heard. Validation is acknowledging their emotion. That sounds incredibly stressful, or I can see why you'd be excited. It's not agreeing, just recognizing their feelings as legitimate. Creates safety.
That validation piece feels really important.
It's huge. Finally, nonverbal cues. Small things, gentle nods, smiles, brief, I see. Subtle encouragers that keep the flow going without interrupting.
So mastering listening actually makes you a better conversationalist.
Absolutely. And once you're listening like a pro, the next step is guiding the conversation subtly. For anyone who fears running out of things to say, this is a game changer.
Ah, the dreaded awkward silence fear.
Exactly. Mastering inquiry means empowering the other person to generate the content. Takes pressure off you. The key distinction: closed-ended questions, yes/no answers, kill momentum, versus open-ended questions, invite detail, reflection.
Open-ended, how do you make sure they are?
Simplest way, start with how, what, or why. What for description, what are your thoughts on? How for process or feeling, how'd you get involved in? Why for reasoning, though sometimes reframing like, what led you to that conclusion, feels less confrontational.
How? What? Why? Got it.
But the real art, follow-up questions, conversational threading. Pick up on a detail they shared and ask an open-ended question about that. Example, I went hiking. Closed. Oh, nice. Open follow-up. Oh, amazing. What's your favorite trail around here? What makes it special? Keeps it flowing naturally.
It shows you were actually listening to.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And maintain a curious, not interrogative tone. Genuine curiosity, not an interrogation. Relaxed, friendly, and use silence. Give them a moment to think after you ask. You'll often get a richer response.
Okay, listening and asking good questions, but what about just starting? That initial approach can be terrifying.
It's often the hardest part. But there are low-pressure ways in. Use low-pressure openers. The classic is comment on the shared environment. Natural, non-invasive. Great turnout, huh? Or love the music here, or ask for a small opinion information. Frames it as a request for help, socially acceptable. Try the appetizers, any good. Or, do you know when the speakers start?
Takes the focus off you immediately.
Exactly. Or, offer a genuine specific compliment on a choice they made less personal than complimenting appearance. Invites a story. That's a unique bag. Where'd you find it? Or, cool t-shirt, I love that band too.
Okay, those feel manageable. What about participating once you're in, especially for introverts?
Great question. Embrace the 80-20 listening to talking ratio. Frame quietness as a deliberate strategy, not a failing. Reduces pressure. Use the thinking out loud preface. I'm just exploring an idea here, or this might be off base, but
Yeah.
lowers the stakes. Gives permission for imperfection.
Takes the pressure off being right.
Totally. And buying time to think. It's okay to pause. That's interesting. Let me think about that. Perceived as thoughtful, not incompetent.
And just as important as starting, knowing how to leave gracefully. Avoid that feeling of being trapped.
Yes. Having a prepared, graceful exit strategy reduces anxiety massively. Give a heads up. Well, I'm going to grab another drink, but it was really great talking to you. Use a polite excuse. I should probably mingle a bit more, but thanks to the chat. Or, if the connection was good, combine it with a follow-up offer. I have to run, but I'd love to continue this sometime. Are you on LinkedIn?
Mastering these skills really changes the game, doesn't it? From performance anxiety to actual connection.
Exactly. It becomes about curiosity and genuine interest, not a test you have to pass. So 3 more. The architecture of relationships, from acquaintance to alliance.
Okay, let's talk about the relationships themselves, because not every connection needs to be, or even should be, like a deep soulmate bond, right?
Absolutely not. That expectation sets you up for disappointment. Being socially intelligent means understanding the different types of relationships and having realistic expectations.
So what are the different types?
Think of your social life as a diverse ecosystem. You have acquaintances, casual, surface level, usually tied to a specific context like work or the neighborhood. Polite, but low emotional investment. Then your professional network. More instrumental, focused on mutual professional goals. Can be friendly, but the core is professional value exchange.
Okay, acquaintances, network.
Then casual friends.
Yeah.
People you share activities with, sports team, book club, there's camaraderie, fun, but the bond is often more about the shared activity than deep personal connection.
Right, activity buddies.
Exactly. And finally, close friends, your inner circle. Deep emotional bond, high trust, mutual support, shared vulnerability. These are the people you rely on, confide in. The connection is about who you both are.
Understanding that typology is huge. Stops you expecting deep intimacy from a work acquaintance.
Precisely. Saves a lot of frustration. And to understand how intimacy develops within those types, we could look at social penetration theory.
The onion theory, right?
That's the one. Developed by Altman and Taylor. It suggests personalities are like onions, multiple layers. Relationships develop by gradually, reciprocally peeling back those layers through self-disclosure.
Gradually and reciprocally. That feels key.
It is. The theory talks about layers of the onion. The superficial layer, public image, non-controversial stuff, hobbies, weather, small talk lives here. Then middle layers, more personal social attitudes, political views, requires more trust. Finally, the inner layers and core, deepest personality, fears, goals, secrets, reserved for the most intimate connections.
So you don't just jump to the core.
Definitely not. The theory also uses breadth, number of topics discussed, and depth, intimacy of info within topics. Relationships grow by increasing both. For someone anxious about sharing, this model is comforting. It confirms deep disclosure isn't expected early on. It's gradual, safe, reciprocal.
That makes the process feel much less daunting.
And while SPT explains how intimacy grows, Knapp's relational stage model maps the step-by-step journey, the coming together of relationships. It demystifies the stranger-to-friend path.
Okay, Knapp's stages. What are they?
Stage 1. Initiating. First contact, maybe just 15 seconds. First impressions, reducing uncertainty, where those low-pressure openers happen. Stage 2. Experimenting. Dominated by small talk. You're auditioning each other, looking for common ground. Here's the key insight. Most relationships don't go beyond this stage, and that's normal.
Wow, okay, so it's not failure if it stays at acquaintance level.
Not at all. Stage 3, intensifying. Acquaintance to friend, less formal communication, deeper self-disclosure, small expressions of commitment, you're a great friend. Reciprocity and vulnerability become vital here. Stage 4, integrating. Identities start merging. Social circles overlap, shared routines, a we identity forms, deep understanding.
Like becoming a unit.
Exactly. And finally, stage 5, bonding, formalized commitment. Marriage is the obvious example, but in friendships, it's symbolic acts being an emergency contact, godparent, the go-to person in crisis. Stable, long-term.
Understanding these stages is like having a map. You can see where you are and what's needed to move forward. Takes away the guesswork.
Totally. But here's the thing. Progression through these stages isn't automatic. It's actively driven by three fundamental dynamics. These are the engines powering your social life.
The engines. Okay, what are they?
First, reciprocity. The mutual, fair exchange. Attention, support, effort, and especially self-disclosure. A friendship dies if it's one way. SBT highlights reciprocal disclosure for building initial trust. Are you both investing?
Makes sense. Give and take.
Second, consistency. Trust isn't built in grand gestures. It's built through small, reliable actions over time. Being dependable, showing up, doing what you say you'll do. Inconsistency, flaking on plans, emotional volatility erodes trust fast. Regular, predictable contact is vital, especially early on.
Reliability builds safety.
Exactly. And that safety allows for the third engine, shared vulnerability. This is the gateway to true intimacy. The courageous risk of sharing your authentic self, fears, insecurities, weaknesses. When vulnerability is met with empathy, acceptance, and reciprocal vulnerability, a profound bond forms. But it needs calibration. Start small, test the waters, see the response.
Don't overshare too quickly.
Right. If it's met with dismissal, the relationship isn't ready, or maybe isn't the right fit for that depth.
So it's a sequence. Consistency builds safety. Safety allows reciprocity. Reciprocity builds trust. Trust allows vulnerability. And that vulnerability deepens the bond.
You've nailed it. That's how real connections are forged. It's a practice of showing up consistently, reciprocally, vulnerably. The real-world battlegrounds. Applying your social blueprint.
Okay, let's get practical. Apply this blueprint to real-world situations. First up, the workplace, where most of us spend a huge chunk of our lives. It's a primary social venue, but complex.
Very complex. It's all about building genuine rapport while respecting those professional boundaries. A delicate dance. For building rapport with colleagues, remember it's gradual. Leverage the shared work context for those low-pressure openers about projects or roles. Shows professional interest. Small talk in shared spaces, break room. Coffee machine builds familiarity. Asking about weekends, hobbies. Bridges the gap from purely transactional talk.
So start with work stuff, then gently branch out.
Exactly. And the key to moving from colleague to friend. Transition the context. Invite them for coffee or lunch outside work. It subtly changes the dynamic. And don't underestimate the power of reciprocity and help. Asking for help, offering help, it builds trust and goodwill naturally within the work context.
Okay, what about networking? Especially for introverts, it can feel like torture.
Yeah, the pressure feels immense.
Yeah.
The key is a mindset shift. Goal isn't collecting cards, it's having a few high-quality, genuine conversations. Focus on being interested, not interesting. Leverage those listening skills.
Quality over quantity.
Precisely. Practical tips for events. Set realistic goals. Talk to 2-3 people meaningfully. Arrive early. Prepare a bit research attendees. Have open-ended industry questions ready. Maybe bring a wing person. Have an exit strategy.
Preparation helps reduce the anxiety. What about finding a mentor?
Don't just ask, will you be my mentor? Too big. Ask for an informational interview, 20-30 minutes for advice. Treat it professionally. Research them. Ask specific questions. Send a prompt thank you note. Nurture it by showing you value their guidance.
Good advice. And those tricky after-work events. Or navigating remote work.
For after-work events, remember, still professional. Drink responsibly or not at all. Avoid gossip, oversharing, mingle. Know when to leave gracefully. In remote hybrid settings, rapport needs intentionality. Join virtual water coolers, non-work channels, pre-meeting chat. Schedule virtual coffee chats. And please, turn your camera on. Nonverbals are crucial for trust.
That camera on point is huge for remote connection. Okay, moving on university. A social goldmine, right? Low risk, high reward.
Absolutely, a fantastic training ground. Leverage the built-in advantages. For making friends in class, use proximity. Attend regularly, sit consistently. Arrive early for chat. Use course material for starters. What'd you think of the lecture? The borrow note strategy is classic. And the simple, walk together after class if someone's going your way, join them. Natural one-on-one time.
Study groups. Seems like a good low-pressure option.
Perfect for social anxiety. The study group is a social hub. It's structured, task-oriented. Social interaction is a byproduct. Builds confidence, camaraderie, and helps your grades. Win-win.
And clubs. Events.
Highly recommended. Leverage clubs, societies, campus events. Interest-based clubs guarantee common ground. Campus events offer low-pressure exposure. Volunteering connects you based on shared values.
What about introverts navigating this potentially overwhelming scene?
Key is quality over quantity. Find your niche book clubs, writing workshops, things aligned with your temperament. Most critically, manage social energy. Understand your social battery. Schedule alone time to recharge. Balance is crucial for sustainable enjoyment. Don't burn out.
Great advice. Okay, the ultimate challenge. Moving to a new city or country. Rebuilding from scratch. That demands proactivity.
The ultimate social boss battle, indeed. Passivity is the death sentence here. You need a blueprint for starting over. The proactive mindset. First, adopt a yes mindset. Initially, say yes to almost every social invitation. Declining early signals disinterest. Each yes is an opportunity.
Gotta get out there.
Second, become the initiator. Don't wait. Suggest coffee, a walk, trying a new place. Be the organizer. People appreciate it. Third, leverage existing networks. Ask friends, family for warm introductions. It's the easiest way in.
Okay, proactive mindset. How do you actually find people?
Use the tools. Finding your community. Apps and local resources. Meetup is amazing for interest-based groups. Eventbrite for one-off events. Bumble BFF for platonic one-on-ones. Nextdoor for hyper-local stuff. Niche apps for specific interests. And don't forget offline strategies. Community centers, libraries, local papers, hobby stores. Check their bulletin boards and calendars.
And you mentioned a less intimidating strategy. One focused on doing, not just meeting.
Yes, the power of shared purpose. Volunteering in classes. Volunteering connects you with people sharing core values. Immediate deep connection point. Boosts self-esteem too. Taking keramik pottery. Cooking. Language. Structured. Regular meetings. Guaranteed shared interest. Organic rapport building. Less pressure.
Makes sense. What about moving abroad? That adds extra layers.
Big time. Navigating a new country. Expats and culture shock. First, finding expat communities can be vital. Platforms like Internations, expat.com, Facebook groups offer support from people who get it. Second, understanding and adapting to new social etiquette. Crucial. Research greetings, personal space, punctuality, dining norms, nonverbal cues. Shows respect, avoids friction.
Little things can make a big difference.
Huge difference. Finally, coping with culture shock. It's normal. Expect stages like honeymoon, frustration, adjustment, acceptance. Acknowledge feelings. Seek support, expats and locals. Stay connected to home, moderately. And crucially, remain social and engaged. Don't isolate. It accelerates adjustment. Outro.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. We've journeyed from, the deepest psychological roots of self-worth and battling social anxiety through the practical nuts and bolts of conversation all the way to strategically building diverse relationships in all sorts of real-world settings.
And what's crystal clear from all this, I think, is that social growth isn't some kind of mystical talent you're born with or without.
It's absolutely a learnable, actionable process. It really is about taking those small, consistent steps. Proving to yourself through your actions that you're more capable than your fears whisper you are. It's about rewriting that internal story.
So now that you, listening, are armed with this blueprint, here's the real challenge maybe.
Yeah.
What tiny, concrete step will you take this week? Just one small thing to build that social muscle. And how will you acknowledge that victory no matter how small it seems?
That's the key, isn't it? Recognizing the wins.
Because ultimately, this isn't about trying to become some completely different person. It's about dismantling those walls. The low self-esteem, the anxiety, so your authentic, connected self can finally step out and, well, thrive.
Yeah, it's a lifelong practice, showing up. For yourself and for others. One brave conversation, one connection, one deliberate step at a time.